Hello and a very warm welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Maria and I am the owner and founder of the New Mummy Company based here in Oakville, Ontario. If you're new to our channel, we are delighted to see you here today. And if you have been a subscriber, a very warm welcome back. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Nadine Woods, and we are going to get into her business and how it supports brand new parents, which we have that kindred spirit. And so I'm very excited. Thank you, Nadine, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I have been so looking forward to chatting to you because I sort of feel like we're on a similar path in terms of what our goals are for our business. So why don't we get started by telling everybody who your business is, what it's called, and what you do, because I think there's so many people who are going to be very excited about this.
Well, this is so true. I think everything that you said is completely accurate. We are both, I think, in the same direction, but we're just doing it in different ways. So our brand is called Mayana Genevière, and we've really created this brand so that we can be inclusive for women at any stage of their life in undergarments and other products beyond. But right now we focus on undergarments and with a specific focus on postpartum healing, because that's how I initially started the brand. When I had my daughter, I felt like there was a lot of products, clothing, all these things for maternity, but there was not really a focus on postpartum recovery, and not in the way that was non-maternity centric, if that makes sense. So that's how the brand was born. And a lot of it we've evolved over the years. You know, the more you get to know people, or the more you grow your customer base, the more they kind of tell you who you are, right? Yes, yep. That's where we are today.
Well, we are very glad that you found your mission in life, because I do feel like as companies, we are really striving for the same thing, which is to provide that support, but also that education component. And that's something that I've always really liked about your business, is the education aspect that you provide to it. So I'm sure providing, the service, the level of quality and service that you provide in your business has been difficult, over the last few months, the pandemic. So we don't want to dwell on the hard times, but I think it's, time to high five each other, because every small business deserves that little bit of a yay. We've made it this far, and I think, we're all still trying to make it a little bit further. But we're coming towards the end where we can now see that glimmer of light. So I was going to say, well done. And I'm so glad that you're still here to be able to do what you do.
Oh my gosh, I feel the exact same way. Honestly, I'm so grateful to see businesses like yours succeed, especially that are so needed. It's very easy. There's a lot of businesses out there that have a lot of funding, a lot of capital, like all these things that smaller businesses didn't have to keep them afloat. And it was really the grit and the grind that kept us going. But I think the most important thing is our customer is what keeps us moving forward, because we recognize we have a service. We need to support these people, in some way, shape, or form, in giving them something that is not readily available on the market, and certainly not with the level of care that you provide. You know what I mean? So congratulations to you too. It's a huge accomplishment.
I'm just glad to be here. Very glad to be here, because I know that there was some people who weren't quite as fortunate to make it through. So for the people who typically watch our channel, and for those who might be stumbling upon us right now, there's obviously certain products that you make, which first of all, I think we need to, highlight the fact that this is not your granny's underwear. This is not the frumpy postpartum ugly duckling scenario. Tell us a little bit more about your vision for what you wanted to create and what you have succeeded in doing in terms of providing beautiful, but clearly very functional underwear to make you feel good. Because let's face it, as a new mom, you may not be feeling your best and certainly not your sexiest, even though you have just created a newborn and you've created a life. So I want you to tell everybody about what you have created, which is so magical and so beautiful in what you've created.
Thank you. So, yeah, I think for me, one of the biggest things, and it still hasn't changed, it's so interesting, is that in the postpartum period of our lives, we are really struggling with this identity of connecting with who we were before we had children and who we are now. Because for women specifically, there's a huge disconnect. It's almost like it's a shock to us, even, you know what I mean? Like, it isn't so much just, you have a new person that you have to take care of and your body changes, but like all your relationships change too, and including the relationship with yourself. And then what's available out there for you is so far removed from what you're used to wearing. I think just in general, in the breastfeeding world, people consider that to be temporary, breastfeeding. Oh, I'm maternity. I don't really need to invest because it's only going to be temporary. But I think what people don't understand until they're actually in it is that temporary moment feels like eternity. It feels like the longest days of your life. It feels like you need the most support. It's the first time your body is actually functioning in the way it was biologically, I guess, designed to. When you have a child, your body already knows that it needs to produce milk. For some of us, it's more challenging. Like for me, I had a difficult time, but I pushed through it. But nevertheless, like it's just these physiological things that happen without you needing to tell it to do it. It just knows what to do. And I certainly never bought bras to be supportive. Now, mind you, I'm not a larger cup woman, but there's a completely different function when your breasts are actually working, when they're expanding, contracting, when you have your letdown, when your milk is coming in, when you're feeding 20 times a day. Like all of these different things, people don't really take into consideration. So when people say, oh, it's like, I'm just nursing bras, I don't really need anything, it's only going to be a few months. I think it's, for me, for me, the shock was so, I don't know, overwhelming that I couldn't believe that there was such an advancement in maternity clothing, but there was not an advancement in undergarments. Yeah. So that's where I started. And I felt like there was a huge gap that needed to be filled there. Now, the way we do it, though, is really at the level of, we produce everything in our own factory here in Toronto. We take the measurements of every single person. Like it's not a transactional experience with us. We really want to get to know where you're at in your stage. Is this your first pregnancy? Is this your second? Or is this are you in the postpartum phase? How many months are you postpartum? Are you weaning? Like all of these factors have to do with how your bra will function and what you need it to do for you. And I've really focused on creating pieces that will transition with you so that they're not just for that temporary period, but even if they are, you still can kind of get a sense of self in them. You're not feeling like, oh God, I feel like this, and then I have to wear this. And then it's the first time, I think, for most people, that our bra is being seen in public 20 times a day. You know what I mean? So that's another huge factor.
So basically what you're doing is you're making people feel good about themselves in their postpartum underwear, which for the most part really didn't get given a second thought up until now. And so maybe we can try and explain a little bit about the quality, because I know you've talked about the sort of a la carte way that you will create that custom piece for them. But I think, when you look at your garments, not only can you see the quality in it, but you use such beautiful, beautiful fabrics.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was a really big piece for me, is I wanted to make sure that the fabrics that I'm using not only are beautiful, but they complement what the biggest issues are. And interestingly, women in postpartum have similar experiences to women in menopause, in that their skin is very sensitive. A wire could be, very uncomfortable. And there's just so many hormonal changes that are happening at once. And a lot of times people don't know, but fabrics, even to this day, it's becoming more popular. We're seeing it everywhere. Oh, ethical or sustainable and all these other things. But a lot of it is, just trying to ride the trend or the wave. So they will do like maybe something a little bit, a bare minimum, or it is actually mandated to be that way. But they will promote that. We take it a step further. We work with our mills directly. We have everything milled from scratch. I don't pick anything off a shelf. I make sure that they remove certain chemicals in our laces specifically that are generally in every single lace, but that is designed to stop the lace from pilling. It is a chemical that is what creates itch. So a lot of times people are like, oh, lace is itchy. Well, it's because of the chemical. And a lot of people don't know that, right? We also, most recently during this past year, I don't know how we did it, but we were able to remill all of our laces in our next order, all from recycled yarn, which is a whole new way of doing things and still have it look and function the same way as our original lace. We line everything with organic cotton because I do believe it's important to have everything that's close to your skin to be breathable, especially if you've had incisions from C-section, episiotomy, all these other things, breastfeeding, that needs to breathe. Your body needs to breathe. So that's a really big piece for us. So we do take it beyond just making beautiful things. We take a lot of time, and I think people really understand that it takes about 22 to 30 components that goes into every single bra. It's a lot of sourcing from a lot of different places. And trying to make sure that they're all aligned with our values of making sure that they're well made, that they are good for the environment, that the people who are making them are healthy and safe. And then, of course, we produce everything here in our own factory. We put everything together here based on measurements. So those are the biggest pieces for us. That is just like I feel like it's just a shared value. I think when we become mothers, we start to really pay attention to the ingredients that are in our foods and what we put on our children, all these different things. And that's the mentality that I'm hoping that we start adopting for ourselves too.
Which is so important, because what we're saying is that we're going to prioritize our children's health. We're going to prioritize the health of our family. We're going to start looking for organic food for our children. But yet we're not necessarily going to put ourselves first.
Yeah, there's a guilt factor there for moms.
Oh, absolutely.
If they purchase anything for themselves, that could help them with their mental health and make them feel better. It might be seen more as a luxury than a necessity. And I think until I find second-time moms are more open, I wouldn't even say more open, they're almost aggressive in the way that they are going to be self-advocates for themselves, because the first go round was all about the baby coming, which is natural, but there is not enough support because and this is why it's so important what you do as new moms, especially in North America, there's not that sense of community and family unless you look for it. Really, it's not something that we really grow up with. We're not growing up with our parents in our home anymore, or like our siblings living next door, or our cousins down the street. That's gone. It's very rare to find that.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And now it's just like, okay, whoever our team is, our birthing team is, that is who is going to be there in that period of time. So, I like to think that, our undergarments are a part of that process, even though people don't consider it to be. They learn very quickly after the first go round.
So when someone gets something custom made, is it a long process? So, if you suddenly find yourself in need of a nursing bra, which, most people will think of buying, the $40 or $50 off the shelf bra, which is, not customized to you, but also your shape and your breasts will change as you progress in your pregnancy. So when people are looking for advice on when they should buy specific items, or like a nursing bra, I tell them to wait as long as possible, because your body will change and develop. But when it comes to creating a piece for them, how long would it take? Is it a long process?
So the process is not long. It depends on usually what we do is we either do a fitting, we do a virtual fitting now. We used to have our place open. We'll get there. We'll get back there. We do a virtual fitting where we assess different measurements and then also your stage. And then from there, then we get the process going. And so it's not entirely custom. Like I don't want it to seem like
No, but
yes, but
it is as custom as it comes.
Yes,
with
yeah.
having your own personal tailor.
Yes, yeah.
Considering, an off the shelf piece is, and we've seen it before where certain brands will run small, certain brands will run big. And so you can buy something and then find that actually it doesn't fit you. And as you know, support is so important when it comes to particularly a nursing bra.
Yes. So I try to let people know, please get your bra as soon as you start to feel uncomfortable. It is so important, especially if you are pregnant. I think a lot of people do not realize that, your body's growing and changing, and there's a lot of things that are going to happen. And a good bra is going to carry you through all those different stages. So you want to make sure you have something that has ample stretch, that's going to accommodate, the growth, expansion, and then the contraction of your breast, which is going to happen multiple times. And then especially the rib cage. I think people don't realize that the rib cage expands in your pregnancy and it does go back, but it takes time. So all of those things are really, really important. And I think learning how to, this is the first time I think most women are understanding also their breasts, like they're learning. Bra shopping in general, people really loathe, and it's unfortunate because it's an experience that people don't really, they're not like, oh my gosh, yes, bra shopping. No, people would rather go shoe shopping. Shoe shopping is like super exciting.
Fun. Yeah.
But bra shopping is almost like, it's one of those things I don't want to do. So we try to take that feeling out of it and make it more of an educational experience for you to own that piece of yourself and learn how to measure your own body, and learn all those things about yourself so that you can take the power back into your hands. So if you were to go to another boutique or any of those things, then you feel more confident, as opposed to sometimes you're going places and they're selling you what they have, because it's what they have. And I think that's what we've all been used to. That's why women with fuller cup or, those other sizes that are not traditional, like a smaller band of fuller cup, we don't see those traditionally in the marketplace. It's something we'd have to go to a specialty store for. And so we pride ourselves on being, within the same price point and reason, but we offer so much more value because we are here to be part of the experience with you. And
one of the things that you provide new moms in droves with is that feel good factor, because you've got this beautifully made piece, you've got the exceptional good quality, you sort of take pride in how you hold yourself because you know that you've got this on. What kind of feedback do you get in terms of the morale boost, the, just sort of feeling more like themselves and feeling human and feeling, like themselves again and feeling sexy and, just because you don't feel like that after you've had a baby?
No, and I don't. And I think the biggest piece is like, my thing was, I didn't even care to feel sexy for my partner. I really wanted to for me.
Yeah.
And not even to feel sexy to feel sexy, but just to kind of reconnect with, that part of myself that I might have felt like this, oh my God, it's like lost now that I've had my baby. I would say it's instant. It's interesting. Fashion does that. I think we all know that, right? When we buy something brand new, we're excited to wear it. And it just changes how you feel about yourself. It's an instant lift. And a lot of times when women come in, it's almost like they recognize themselves again when they put things on, put the pieces on that we make. They're like, wow, like the number one thing we hear is, I feel like myself again. We're like, we need to change. We need to make that our tagline, because that's a really big thing. Everybody keeps saying that. I feel like myself again. Like, what is that? Whatever that means to you.
Of course, and it's going to mean something different to everybody, but it's so important to be able to connect with yourself again, because I think one of the things moms will say over and over is that they lost themselves in this entire process somehow they lost themselves. And like you mentioned, you know, your relationships change with yourself, with your partner, with your friends, with your parents. And so when you lose yourself, if you can help them connect back to themselves, what an amazing thing to be able to do.
Yeah. And I feel like that is what makes it worth it for us, is when people write in and they're like, oh my gosh, like this bra has changed. And it's not, and the interesting thing is like a lot of the people that have our bras, they keep it for three pregnancies. Some people, they wear it for years. It's not temporary because there's no plastic clip on it. We're the only bra in the world that has removed that. That's true to size, and that's our IP, right? So once you remove that, it's almost like the branding, you know, on the bra is no longer there, and you don't feel as though you're in that maternity phase. So you can wear it, you know, for quite a few years.
So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, and we have so many different types of women wearing our bras. They're not just for nursing. And I think
No.
yeah.
And I should have probably clarified that you're not just in that. But I think given the fact that, you know, what we do and the fact that you have these, you know, really beautiful pieces to sort of make you feel like yourself again is so important. And that's why I was so keen to chat with you, just so that people know that there is that alternative, there is that option, and you can feel good about yourself, because like you said, you are going to be exposing your bra 20, 100 times a day. And, you know, you want to feel good about yourself, and you deserve to invest in yourself. And you are going to invest in nursing bras if you plan to nurse or pump, or, you know, however you're nursing your baby. So I think it's just the perfect way to be able to invest in yourself and just give yourself that little boost.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, I mean, I'm biased, but I agree.
Well, I think you have every right to be biased.
So I think the number one thing for me, especially over the past year, we've seen that a lot of people were not into bras. Like I keep bringing this up. You know, I mean, I think that was the most loathed garment. Everybody's like, oh, I'm not wearing my bra. I don't care about a bra. I'm going to go braless after this. I'm never wearing a bra again. And in my mind, I'm like, that's because you all are not wearing the right bra. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. If you hate your bra, you need to get in touch with Nadine.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think most people, to be fair, do hate their bra. And they probably do it because, like you said, you hate bra shopping because it's never a fun experience.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, you are probably grabbing something off the shelf that hasn't been fitted for you. And I think it's fair to say that your shape, whether you are pregnant or not, changes dramatically over your life.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously with weight gain and weight loss, your breasts will also change and your shape will change. And obviously when you've had a baby, your entire shape changes. And like you mentioned, your rib cage will expand. So, you know, if you're wearing the same bra that you had 5 years ago and you've had 2 pregnancies, chances are it's, you know, past its sell by date.
Yeah. And then also, you know, bras are functional garments. They're there to do work. So, I mean, depending on the type of materials they're made with, you know, that's a lot of strain on the material as well. And we get into a whole bunch of things. Like we try to educate people on how to clean your garments so that they last. I see so many women like, oh my gosh, we did a poll a while ago and we said, how old is your oldest bra? And I think some people are like, oh, my bra, I have my bra from college. I have my bra from 10 years ago. And we're like, oh my goodness. Like, yeah, it's really a thing. And it's a part of self-care. Undergarments are part of self-care.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm sure we're all guilty of, you know, putting it in the washing machine just with all the rest of your clothing and, you know, then wondering why it doesn't quite look the same when you take it out again.
Yeah. And I mean, like, again, today, like a lot of companies are just using certain types of fabrics that can be put in the washing machine those bras are not really meant to last for very long. But when you look at when you look at bras, like true bras, when you look at bras that are from, all the countries that we consider to be where forerunners in lingerie and cultures that really focus on that being part of your wardrobe, like there's a level of care that is involved in that, and it's a part of self-care too. It's a big piece.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I'm sure that, there would be European women who would be horrified. Yeah. And of course, when it comes to posture, then I think, obviously when you're wearing a good supportive bra, it changes your posture. And now that we are slowly venturing back into society again, we want to be able to go out and hold our head up high, regardless of the 5, 10, or 25 pounds that you've put on because of COVID, or the baby weight that you've gained, or, whatever the case may be. And so by investing in it in that respect, you can feel good from the inside out. And like you said, just self-care is so important. As a new mom, I feel like there should be a prescription that is mandatory. Along with postpartum care, everyone should be given time for self-care.
Yeah. And it's so interesting. I actually did, it's been quite some years that I've been postpartum, but in this pandemic, I felt like I was in that time again. It's very isolating. To your point, like, there's quite a few people have changed in weight. We've been getting into habits just to try and figure out, like, we've been in survival mode, a lot of us. And Ontario, we've been in lockdowns that have been some of the longest in the world. So it's been a very challenging, isolating time. It's like that in postpartum. And I think, obviously it's different in that, we're woken up multiple times a night and there's all these other things. This is where you come in. But it was very reminiscent, I think, especially in the early days when people didn't know what was going on. And it just further highlights how much of a disparity there is in the support for women and then support for mothers. And then in deciding who was heading back to work, who wasn't, and, how to stay comfortable, but then still not, still feel yourself. I know everybody was venturing into sweats and stuff like that, but that can only for so long, right? You want to start to feel again like yourself. You don't want to just feel like you're in your PJs all day and that's all part in postpartum. That is very common. Mm-hmm. I remember these, right? In days when you would be like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where the day went, and I haven't even had a shower yet, and I don't even know when will I get a moment to, you know what I mean? So there's like such an interesting parallel.
And of course, then that would very easily tie into your overall mental health. When you feel good, it generally is because you look good, because you've taken the time to do your hair or have a shower and just feel clean. But if you're, removing the bra and living in sweats and living in pajamas and, not washing your hair for days and days on end, that can really sort of get to you after a while. And obviously, if you've got a new baby and you are in lockdown and you are supposed to stay home, those are the moms that I really, really worried and stressed over the last year, because postpartum is hard enough without having this incredibly excessive layer of stress added in, where in the beginning, like you said, we didn't really know what we were up against. We didn't really know what we were dealing with or how long it was going to last. I know when we, had to close our yoga studio, we said it was for a few weeks. And last night was our first prenatal yoga, and it was the first class in 85 weeks.
Oh my gosh. And how was that?
It was amazing. I joined in. I had to join in. I was like, I'm not pregnant, but I want to do the class, because I just felt like from a stress relief point of view, I wanted to do it, but also just to be able to do an in-person yoga class again was just so lovely. Mm-hmm. So I'm a big advocate in the mental health aspect of things, to make sure that people will realize the the impact that your mental health can have on all the other sort of strands in your life. And if your mental health is suffering, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that if you have a shower, that you'll suddenly, be perfect. But, just taking that time to look after yourself and asking for help and getting time to have time to yourself and getting self-care and, putting on things that you feel good in can really make such a difference.
It makes a huge difference, and it's instant.
Yeah.
It's instant.
Yeah. Just sometimes the littlest things in life can make the biggest difference.
Mm-hmm. I know. And it's things that we, I think, didn't realize were very important until I think we can appreciate a lot more things now.
Yeah,
We've all
absolutely.
been through it. And I think that a lot of people have more perspective and empathy for those of us who continue to go through different things, especially for new moms who've had it double hard this past few years.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just hope that now there's that light at the end of the tunnel where, little by little, we can start to do these things in person again. And you can start to get people back in to do real fittings with, because just making the time for that experience I would consider that self-care.
Yeah, it is. And it's a fun experience too, getting out and doing something and just being around different people and making the experience something that you enjoy, kind of reprogramming what society has kind of collectively said is not fun for women. I think that's the best part of it, is that whole lack of expectation when people come in, if they have the opportunity to. That's the best part, is that people are actually pleasantly surprised. And it's actually almost similar in our virtual, which a lot of people were surprised about. And you're in your own home though, and you can be comfortable, and we go through it there with you as well, which is equally, it's almost the same.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to check out the range of products that you have, and in particular garments, undergarments for postpartum, for when they're in that beautiful blossoming recovery phase of being a new mom, where can they find you, both online and social media, and sort of let us know how we can connect with you?
Yes. So our website is, I don't know, you might post it but it's www.
We'll definitely put it down in show notes for sure.
But yeah, and we're on Instagram mostly. I think that's where we predominantly, showcase most of our stuff. That's the platform we use the most, and we communicate with people. And we show a lot of behind the scenes here in the factory, which is always fun because people like to see how their products are made. It's a novelty. It's interesting. So you can check us out there as well. And then on our website, we make it super easy for you to book an appointment if you are interested in getting fitted as well online right now. But in the future, we will be reopening, and we are in the junction of Toronto. So for those who know where that is on the west side of Toronto. Wonderful.
And so you ship to Canada, North America, internationally?
We do. We ship internationally. Actually, we just had 2 this past month, one to Turkey, one to Germany, and one to Australia. But we predominantly do Canada and the States. Like, those are the 2 places that we predominantly ship to. But we're excited to expand because I think there's other cultures who are more open to the postpartum healing experience and focused on mom's healing. And we're all learning from each other, I think. So yeah.
And little by little, I feel like women are becoming more educated and aware of the fact that they deserve more in the postpartum period, and that they can advocate for themselves. But it doesn't have to be people like me and you advocating for them all the time, because to a certain extent, when you and I, excuse me, are doing what we do, it can come across as a sales pitch. And I know that it's not how you operate and it's not how we operate, but it still can be perceived in that way. And so I'm glad to sort of finally feel like women are just taking that little bit of ownership of that phase of their lives. But I think there's still a lot of work to be done. There's still a lot. There's a lot of hurdles. There's a lot of things to be overcome. But yeah, we're finally making some progress, which is heading in the right direction. And I'm so pleased to hear that there are women right across the world who are able to take advantage. So the good news is that no matter where you're joining us from today, you'll be able to check out the website and see for yourself. And I think you are going to be really, really impressed by just the luxurious and just the detail that is in your products. Is just, it really is second to none. And that's why I'm so happy to talk to you today.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for the opportunity to share with your clients and your audience what we do. For everybody who doesn't know, like, I've met Maria a long time ago, and I feel like we have not had, I mean, nobody really has had the opportunity to really see each other in person. So this is a lovely way to connect. And I'm so glad that you reached out. And I'm also very grateful that we have the opportunity to speak to your audience and, compliment what it is that you do, which is so important especially for new moms.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Nadine. I really, really appreciate it. If you have enjoyed today's conversation, then we would love to get a thumbs up from you, because then we know that you're enjoying the conversation. And so we can bring you more conversations like this. And if you have ever experienced any of the wonderful products that Nadine has been responsible for, then we would love to hear from you. And if you have any questions, if you'd like to ask us any questions, then please, by all means, do comment down below and we'll make sure to pass them on to Nadine. But obviously, you can reach out to her and connect with her directly, or the company. We'll have all the information down below for you to be able to reach out to them. And so for now, it's goodbye from us, but we'll be back again next Thursday with our next video. So until then, it's goodbye from us and have a great day. Thank you again, Nadine.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Bye, everyone.
Bye.